Hi, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of just me doing my stuff. As you can see, I'm finally back from the United Kingdom, and so this is just a book haul video. I bought a lot of books, about 30 or probably a little bit more than 30. Needless to say, my luggage was pretty heavy, and that's a whole other story and a lot of lesson that I've learned. Pack lightly, so you can buy a lot more books. Anyway, all these books have come from different Waterstones, different bookstores that I've visited throughout the United Kingdom, whether it was P&G Wells Books, or it was Waterstones, or it was Oxfam, or Blackwell's Bookshop. I bought books pretty much everywhere that I went, and this was my souvenir to myself. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. Book number one, the very short introduction of continental philosophy. Continental philosophy is one of the areas of philosophy that I'm interested in other than existentialism and ethics and philosophy or religion. Continental philosophy is a bit of an attractive philosophy to me. For those of you who are kind of curious about what continental philosophy is it's different from analytic philosophy. So continental philosophers are Kant and Nietzsche and Kierkegaard. So essentially philosophers who are part of continental Europe rather than through my education and pretty much everyone else in the Anglo-Saxon world, England, Ireland, Scotland, America, those places are typically analytical philosophy that tends to fall from that tradition. So I figured learning from this book would be invaluable. Book number two is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. I heard a lot of good things about this book from different people on Bookstagram and BookTube, but I figured, might as well. I found a lot of Japanese literature in England that I haven't found over here in America, so I figured I might as well dive in because I found a little bit of a passion that I'd like to become a Japanese literary translator one day. So start somewhere, and this is part of it. Book number three is this Dostoevsky book printed in 1946. It is a book about Dostoevsky and talking about his writing and his style, talking about whether he is the greatest writer and his influences and things like that. So that is the book Dostoevsky. Book number four is Keats's poems. Keats is one of my absolute favorite poets. I'm still trying to memorize some of his poetry. I absolutely love Keats, and I wanted to visit his house, but London got a bit too expensive, and so I relegated myself to getting a very nice copy of the Everyman Pocket Poets edition of Keats, and I'm going to dedicate my time to trying to memorize some of his beautiful lyrical poetry. Book number five is actually in these little bags. Book number 5, 6, and 7, I believe. So this is The Return of the Native by Thomas Hardy, and it was published in 1919. It is a part of a series of Thomas Hardy books that were published at this time, and I found this at Oxfam. As you can see, it needs a little bit of loving, but I got people who can fix that for me. And book number 6 is Elatikian. It's in the same series, it's just in a bit of a different condition. It has a bookmark ribbon at the bottom as well, and this is a part of, like I said, the same series, so that's why it's in the little Sherlock Holmes Museum paper, because I needed to be very careful with it. And then book number 7 is a collection of stories and poems by Thomas Hardy, right here in this gorgeous green volume. I believe this was printed in the 1947, and it's a first edition. So these are my beautiful books. That is book number 5, 6, and 7 on my list. Book number 8 is another Thomas Hardy book, and I found this in Canterbury. It's called Two on a Tower, and this is a part of a 70s print of Thomas Hardy's books in a series. And this was printed in 1977. As you can see, it has a very gorgeous cover. The art on the inside is quite gorgeous, giving you a map of Hardy's Wessex, of the novels and the poems. And as you can see, it's also on the back. It's quite a lovely book, and I look very much look forward to reading it. Book number 10 is also another Thomas Hardy novel, and that is Tess of D'Urberville by Thomas Hardy. This is a copy of Tess that's not widely available in the United States. So I'm like, it's UK exclusive, might as well get it. And it also got me some extra Waterstones points. As you can see, the cover is absolutely gorgeous. I love the way that these look and the way that these feel. It's very just minimalistic, and I just personally love it. Sorry, that was book number 9. Book number 10 is The Man Who Was Thursday by G.K. Chesterton. Now, this was a very special Hatchet's print. This is number 114 of 2000, and I figured, hey, I haven't read any of Chesterton's books, and it's a limited print from Hatchet's, which is one of the best bookshops I've been to in England. Might as well buy it. And so I did. So yeah, this is book number 10, and I very much look forward to reading it. Book number 11 is The Conditions of Love, The Philosophy of Intimacy by John Armstrong. I'm reading this book currently, that's why there's a bookmark in there. I haven't really looked much into the philosophy of love, and so I figured that this book would be a good introduction to that. As you can see that, it's asking, what does it mean to be loved? What is love? What does it mean to love another person? What is the perfect partner? How does infatuation differ from reality when it comes to love? So I figured that this would be an interesting avenue of philosophy to kind of dip my toes in, as it were. I want to give up counting. Here's another Hardy book. It's the Mayor Casterbridge in the gorgeous vintage paperback edition. The red paperbacks, I absolutely love them. I wish we had these in America, because honestly, the vintage in the UK is much gorgeous. And there's also the Ex Libris in the front, which is really nice. So yeah, I look forward to getting into this. The next book is, this one actually just released whenever I was over there. It's Beautiful Star by Yukio Mishima. It's one of the first novels that's come out from him. I mean, of course he's dead, but one of the first that's been that was untranslated, that's just recently been translated. And I found this, and I'm like, I like Yukio Mishima. I'm going to pick it up and read it. So yeah, I look forward to doing a book review on this eventually. Yeah. So and then the next book is a bit more academic for me. This is the New Penguin Japanese translation series. And it has short stories in both English and Japanese. It's a bit of a parallel, and so I figure, since I want to do translation Japanese, I love the Japanese language, I want to learn more of it, that this would be a good way to learn it. So I'm going to gradually go through this. The next book is Truth, A Guide for the Perplexed by Simon Blackburn. I got this book from my father as well, so he and I are going to go through this book together. Essentially, in philosophy, there's the debate about what truth is. Is it objective? Is it subjective? Is it relative? Is truth influenced by objectivity, things like that. And it's a very important discussion to have when it comes to that area. There's a philosophy of truth. So figure, talk about this with my dad, that'd be a good bonding moment, but also a very interesting read and discussion to have with each other. So yeah. The next book is Yasunori Kawabata's Dandelions. I haven't really read much of Kawabata, and I know that he's very famous in the Japanese literary scene. So I figure I'll start with Dandelions, which sounded very interesting. Compared to, whereas, Snow Country is one that I've heard that I've been recommended to read before, but I decided to start with this book. The next one is actually the series of Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I actually have I'm currently reading volume 3 as well. So I absolutely fell in love with the series. I was recommended to read this by a couple of people, but it wasn't until I was in New York that I actually picked up the first 2 copies, and then I read them, and I loved them. I picked this up in Waterstones on Piccadilly in London. I've been loving it, but going through this one a bit more slowly because I just haven't been reading as much since I got back. As you know, it's just been hectic, but this is such a fantastic series, and I highly, highly recommend it. The next book is a Murakami book. What I talk about when I talk about running. I haven't really read much of Murakami's memoirs, so I figured that this would be a great way to kind of get into the head of the writer and understand where he's coming from. I know that this is often a very quoted book, so I figured I like Murakami, might as well try to see what he gets, most quotations are. The next book is a book that I was I literally was searching specifically for this copy, and it is the vintage edition of the Brothers Karamazov, translated by Viveren Volokhonsky. I found this at Hatchard's, which is why it has a Hatchard's bookmark in there, a very gorgeous bookmark. So yeah, I spent the entirety of the trip looking for this book because I like the cover and I like the way that it looks. So there's that. And I also got the Notes from the Underground by Dostoevsky at Hatchard's as well. I haven't read this just yet, but I loved the Brothers Karamazov and I know I'm going to love this. So those were the two that I got there. I also ended up getting Demons by Dostoevsky at I think it was a Waterstones. So I kind of got all three of these, and yeah, I've been falling in love with Dostoevsky. Next up is Alasdair MacIntyre's After Virtue. I personally subscribe to the virtue ethics area of philosophy, ethical philosophy that is. And so this was a very controversial essay back when it first released, and I don't really find a lot of academic philosophy in the United States, like at your average bookstore. So I figured grabbing this at the Gower Street Waterstones, I saw this, so I knew I had to get it. So I bought it, and I very much look forward to studying it this semester because I'm taking a classical ethics class. So this talks about my boy Aristotle and Nietzsche, so I look forward to that. Next up is David McPherson's Virtue and Meaning, a Neo-Aristotelian Perspective. I picked this up at Blackstone's in Edinburgh. Again, as someone who's interested in the Aristotelian ethical theory and ethical view, this is something that I decided to pick up. And yeah, so I'm going to be studying this quite a bit, so I look forward to that. Next up is Iris Murdoch's Metaphysics as a Guide to Morals. I also got this at the Gower Street Waterstones. I haven't really read much of Iris Murdoch, but I was looking for a lot of kind of moral or ethical theories as far as books go, and so I found this and I figured I needed to get it, and I look forward to reading it. Next up, we have the very ambitious first volume of the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I have not really read a lot of fantasy. The most fantasy that I've read has been Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, maybe Infinity Ring. What else do I have over there? The Princess Bride. So that's about all the fantasy that I've read. So I've heard a lot of great things about this book. I know that a lot of people say it takes literal time to get through the Wheel of Time. So I figured, why not start an ambitious journey? And I'm going to start documenting my journey on YouTube. So look forward to that video coming up very, very soon. Next up is a Japanese grammar and verb book. I got this, I think I got this on Waterstones somewhere. As you know, I study Japanese, so I figured this would be a good handbook to have. On top of that, I also got a All About Particles book, which kind of gives me everything I need to know about Japanese particles. That's going to be very helpful this semester because I'm taking intermediate Japanese, and it's all going to be in Japanese. So having this and having this by my side are going to be lifesavers. Next up is this very beautiful copy of Shakespeare Sonnets, the vintage edition. I haven't had a good edition of Shakespeare Sonnets on a paperback, and so I figured for £6.99, that this was a good buy, and I look forward to reading some of English's best poetry. Next up is The Little Book of Ikigai. I got this at the Minister Gate bookshop. They sell a lot of interesting books, and this one caught my eye because I haven't seen a good book on Ikigai, which is a Japanese philosophy about how to live a long and happy life. Doing things that you love until the day you die. It's very Japanese philosophy. So I figured I'd get this book and study it a little bit. Next up is Days at the Murasaki Bookshop. This looked like an interesting read as well. I've heard a lot of great things again on BookTube and Bookstagram or Book Talk or whatever it is. This looked like a very interesting read. A lot of new Japanese books coming out. This one I believe was published this year. Yeah, English translation was published this year, so I look forward to getting into it. Next up is Kenzaburo Oe's Death by Water. They had The Silent Cry there, but this just seemed to capture my eye a little bit, talking about suffering from writer's block and writing about a book that pretty much induces guilt and trauma. It sounded very interesting. The Japanese have a very interesting way of doing psychological thrillers, so I figured that this would be a great book to read. Next up is Alistair McIntyre's A Short History of Ethics. You might see this picture with me doing this. This is the book. I ended up buying it. I look forward to reading it. I like history of philosophy and history of ethics is very interesting as well. Then also we have In Pursuit of the Beautiful Soul. And this actually just released whenever I was there, so I decided I needed to get it because aesthetic philosophy is an interesting philosophy, and we need to bring back the idea of the soul in Western thought, because the soul does exist and it's a very crucial component of one's identity. Next up, we have Meiko Kawakami's All the Lovers of the Night. I haven't really read a lot of female writers in Japanese. That's because there aren't a lot that are widely translated, so I found this and decided to pick it up, and I'm going to read it. And I also found my boy Aristotle's Eudemony Ethics, which I didn't even know existed, so I had to pick it up. I got this in Edinburgh, and I'm going to crack this open and compare it with the Nicomachean Ethics and see how everything goes with Aristotle. In Waterstones in Durham, I got The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann. I look forward to reading this quite a bit. It's going to be a bit of a thick read, and this is going to be a little bit lower on my TBR, but it will get done. Trust me on that. Next up is Japanese Short Stories, Oxford Book of Japanese Short Stories, and it just has a bunch of different Japanese short story authors, famous authors, people who are still kind of underground, and I figured that it'd be a good way just to kind of see how Japanese short stories differ from English or French or German short stories. Next up is honestly one of the nicer copies I've gotten, and it is the Everyman editions of Vanity Fair by William Maccabees Thackeray. And I've actually been reading through this on my Kindle, so yeah, expect a book review coming up soon. Next up is a book on one of my favorite philosophers, Soren Kierkegaard. It's called Philosopher of the Heart, The Restless Life of Soren Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard lived a very interesting life, a very sad life, and a very short life. Ultimately, he emphasized that faith is one of the most important aspects of philosophy, so I had to pay my due respects to him. Next is Murakami again, but this time the 1Q84 or 1984 trilogy. By Murakami. I figured I needed to get a nice edition of this because I wanted to get it in a way that's a bit more consumable and digestible than some of the other editions of Murakami's books. Next up, I got Patrick Rothfuss's The Name of the Wind series, which my mom highly recommended. It's a fantasy series, and again, I haven't read much fantasy, so I decided to pick this up, and we're going to get into it. Next up is breaking into Japanese literature. Again, this is going to help me with just reading Japanese, my comprehension, my vocabulary, things along those lines. So I figured I found this at Waterstones on Piccadilly, got it, and I look forward to using it. Next up is, I'm going to pick up these three all at once. Brought in Japan, loved this book. Finished it. It was one of the last books I finished while in England. Loved it. This will be coming out soon. Book review anyway. This was recommended to me by Benjamin McAvoy. I look forward to reading this. It seemed very interesting. I picked it up at the Gower Street Waterstones. Then this I got at the Trafalgar Square Waterstones because it seemed very interesting. And I love anything to do with cats, libraries, or Japanese literature. So yeah, kind of just doing this trying to do this a bit quickly because this video's gone on for quite a while. Next up is Nick Bradley's Four Seasons of Japan. I figured that this sounded interesting. Saw this on What Is Sophie Reading on Bookstagram. So I decided to grab this. It looked interesting, and I look forward to reading it and doing a review on it. And then finally, probably the most interesting one that I've gotten is A.C. Grayling's Life and Philosophy, signed by him, Hatchard's edition. I haven't really read a lot of A.C. Grayling other than the history of philosophy, so I figured getting this and reading it would do a service. I know he's a very popular contemporary philosopher, so there's that. And one bonus, because I know I'm going to be doing a book review on it very soon, is I got this, well, when I got back home, got this edition of The Brothers Karamazov by Michael R. Katz. He translated Crime and Punishment, and this paper is just absolutely gorgeous. The print is very, very nice, and I look forward to doing a review on his translation and comparing it with Pavir and Volkanovsky's. And eventually what I'd like to start doing, for those of you who are interested, doing a book club on patreon.com. Still trying to formulate more of the ideas, make it a bit more concrete, but I think doing a book club would be quite fun. It would be a bit of a paid book club because it would take time to do things in there, but it wouldn't be very much. It'd probably be like $5 a month or something. Of course, I would, there's going to be different tiers, so there's that. But if you're interested in something like that, let me know. I definitely am going to try to get something like that rolling within the next 2 months or so. So yeah, if you look forward to seeing me review these books, talk about these books in the near future, please hit that like, follow, subscribe button. If you'd like to see more, go watch my other videos, go watch my UK blogs. Had a lot of fun in that country. So yeah, thank you guys for watching very, very much. I'm sorry that I kind of sped through this. This is my first time doing a book haul, and so it's a bit weird just kind of talking about all the books I got, and honestly seeing how many books I counted, it was quite a bit. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye.